Happy Halloween! My name is Dakota.
I'm Lauren.
And welcome to the HHN 33 Hype episode. So, it has been a really weird season. Thank you guys for sticking with us. But we are back. I know a few weeks ago we posted our very delayed reactions to the first 6 houses. But we are back now to we're not quite reacting. We're gonna react and do our hype list kind of at the same time. It's been a weird year. So, Lauren, what are you thinking about HHN 33?
I'm very excited. So I have actually been in the dark for most of the season. I just read all of the descriptions for the houses yesterday. So I'm getting excited.
If that gives you any indicator.
But, I'm delayed excited this year.
Yeah, it's definitely been weird. I feel like I've really only gotten to keep up with kind of the event on social media. So, like, now that we've, we're kind of back, we're doing, obviously this is a very different format than I think what some of you who have been with us for a long time are used to. But it might be temporary. We're trying things. We're experimenting. But as we said, these last couple episodes, however many are out by the time you're watching this, we are now also a podcast, and we should be up on every platform. If we're not, Apple is still, kind of giving me the runaround at the time of this recording, but they're difficult, so it is what it is. But, we are available on all of your audio platforms as well as YouTube now, so it's a whole new world as far as the Horror Nights Gauntlet goes, and we're excited to kind of start this new season with this new format. So, without further ado, we're going to just kind of make our way around the Universal Studios Florida map, counterclockwise, starting at the entrance of the park, and just kind of as we encounter each attraction, we'll be giving our brief thoughts, or if it's our first time talking about it at all, we'll kind of break down our, full thoughts. Some of these things there's things we talked about before that we have a lot more information about than the last time we spoke. Which was much longer ago than when we actually posted the episode. So we'll probably fill in a bit here and there, but really we want to kind of focus on the stuff we haven't talked about yet, and then just kind of tell you where we're planning on putting things.
Yes, and we're doing our normal format for our hype list of it being combined with all of the attractions.
Yep, so we will be doing, if you guys would like to share yours as well, all 10 haunted houses, all 5 scare zones, as well as Halloween Nightmare Fuel, or I guess it's just called Nightmare Fuel subtitle now. And then what was it?
Circus something?
Oh yeah, Nocturnal Circus. And then we are also, we've begun putting the Tribute Store in our hype list as well, because it's really an attraction in and of itself. So, we are ranking 17 attractions and how hyped we feel about them. So, feel free to join along. Let us know on social media what you guys think as well. Where are you ranking things? And let's just get this ball rolling at the front of the park with Duality of Fear. Lauren, would you like to read the little snippet?
Yes. So, as soon as you enter Halloween Horror Nights, you must choose a path. The visceral horror of sinister or the unearthly terror of surreal.
Did you see the reveal, the official icon reveal? It happened literally today, the day we're recording.
I mean, I saw the photo that you sent me.
Yeah. So, there was that. There was also some lore. It wasn't really lore. It was just kind of flavor text, evil is evil, and the dark, do you go this way or that way? But I like that we now officially have kind of confirmed that these are our icons, and that this is kind of the starting point where we kind of make our choices for this year. Where do you have it ranked?
I have it ranked at number 15.
I have it at, oh god, number 13. 4 overall for the scare zones, though.
I have it last for the scare zones.
Yeah, there's one that I put below it, obviously, and I think if you follow me on
because
anything,
I know
you probably have guessed
I think
already.
I know what it is.
Yeah, I just.
Something I do want to say about this one though is I do like the choose your path sort of mentality of it. I don't know. That's an interesting thing to put because they're putting it right there at the entrance. I'm assuming where Oddfellow was last year.
It feels very Dueling Dragons. It feels very like choose thy fate, like, and down even to the color palettes. I mean, we chose to kind of mimic that today, a little blue and red. I do think the spelling of the names for these icons is really stupid with the 3s, but 33, well, sure.
Oh my god. I just realized that, so
Lauren. But yeah, I think the most interesting thing about this zone is going to be seeing these two characters. I love that we have 2 icons. That's very cool. We haven't talked about this yet, but twin icons, and that was the rumor for a long time, and obviously that came to fruition. And I love the split path and the like 2 zones. I do feel like they, like, Demon Queens doesn't, like, Torture Fair makes sense. Like, Sinister, she's the queen of Torture Fair. And then, like, Surreal, she's the queen of Demon Queens. And, like, so she's the queen of queens, but the other queen is, I don't know. I guess we'll get to it.
Yeah, it might have more to do with, like, the characters in the zone than, like, the zones following it. Like, I mean, I do think that it will tie in with, like, Demon Queens and Torture Fair, but, like, yeah, I'm not, like, thinking it's gonna go much past that.
Yeah, if there's anything I am excited about with this zone, and honestly, the reason I have it so low really is just because I thought the Oddfellow zone last year was just kind of whatever, and we haven't seen any real construction for this yet, so I that's really all we have to base our expectations on. But I do think seeing the 2 of them up on top of that platform again will be really cool, and hopefully they'll be mic'd actresses who are maybe, like, spitting and cutting up and kikiing all night. I think that could be really cool. So I think there's a lot of potential here, and I could see this rise a lot depending on how successful they are as characters.
Okay, so moving on to the next area, we reach Demon Queens. Dakota, would you like to read that?
Yeah, let's, so get caught in an otherworldly hellscape ripped from the darkest corners of your mind, where 4 merciless queens loyal to Surreal rule. And this is in Hollywood Boulevard.
So where do you have this one ranked?
I have Demon Queens at number 9 overall, but it is actually my most hyped scare zone.
It's your most hyped scare zone?
It is. My thing, serving cunt is a priority always. And I'm like, women, we love women. We love the girls, gays, and theys, and that's just who this feels like it's for. This feels like they've heard the cries of, like, put zones like 7 and Vanity Ball and Vamp and even Dark Zodiac to an extent. It wasn't quite what we expected, but I feel like they know now. Like, people are like, can we have that? Like, and I feel like that might be what this is. But then again, we've been wrong before. So
yeah, I also felt like this zone was pretty, like, girl power-esque. So I have this as my number 2 scare zone, but it is number 6 overall for me.
Interesting. Well, I am excited. That's very cool that it made it up to number 6 overall. So that says you have a zone in your top 5.
I do. I'm like, do I?
Good to know.
Can I read?
I like to just, I'm sitting here doing my little math. I did not look when you sent me them just for notes. I was like, I don't actually want to look. I want to be surprised. But
well, then also that wasn't the overall. That was just...
Exactly, yeah. spoiler alert, we're recording with another podcast immediately after this. But so yeah, I am really excited about Demon Queens. I love Hollywood Zones. I have had, there's always some hits or misses. No venue is perfect, but I really love this area, and I think bad bitches being evil, it's the tea. I love that. So I'm very excited for this one. I hope that it lives up to my lofty, as always, expectations.
I just kind of want something in Hollywood again that has like upbeat music. I feel like the music and the atmosphere of Hollywood has been kind of like not drab. Like the actors have definitely been like high energy, like Graveyard and Zodiac last year. But I really am looking forward to like hopefully some like more engaging things happening in that zone this year.
No, I agree completely. I feel like, I don't know, we've said it before that we weren't crazy about the music in Dark Zodiac. It had a very somber kind of atmosphere. I don't know. I feel like they know. I feel like they must know, surely. Like, Demon Queens, people are like, we want bad bitches. And, like, to be a bad bitch, we gotta have some bad bitch music. And I'm expecting brat energy. So, this should be the brat zone. I don't know. Like, I'm feeling it. I feel it in my bones. Let's keep it truck-a-luckin'. We have yet another new to us announcement, and that was moving into Central Park, Swamp of the Undead. Lauren?
So, in Backwaters, Louisiana, you're about to be swamped by zombies born from the bodies of trespassers killed and dumped in a nearby bog.
So where do you have it?
I have this one ranked at number 3 overall, and it is my most hyped zone.
It's very surprising. I have it as my number 3 for zones. It landed at number 12 for me overall. I do just like a lot of houses that I'm like really interested in though, because all of the set pictures we've seen, and then I was at the what am I trying to say? The pass holder preview the other day, and not preview, the pass holder night, Universal pass holder night. It was just Universal Studios at night, but the set for this was up, and it was so beautiful, and seeing it in nighttime, even though it wasn't lit, I was just like, this is Central Park. They don't miss. They don't miss. They don't. Like, they never do.
I think that's always usually my favorite zone, or like close to, and I'm always really excited for whatever they put there. I for sure had it in my cards that you would be mentioning, like Lestat.
Oh no, listen. So that's you want to know why it's not number 1 is because I'm tired of the zombies. And I'm like, undead, that could be vampires. But yeah, no, I did. I'm gonna at least live out my personal little Swamp Lestat fantasies there, but it is zombies, not vampires, so.
What if it's zombie vampires?
If it had been swamp vampires, bitch,
what if it's like
number
sexy
1.
Zombies?
And I guess we'll find out soon enough. But I feel like, honestly, I'm kind of thinking, like, because when it first was announced and kind of, I guess, where I ranked it, I was thinking, like, redneck, zombie, but, like, it could be, like, maybe giving, do you remember Bayou of Blood? It was the, like, predecessor, literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus. With the Voodoo Queen, and then that led to the Deadwater Scare Zone, and I was like, or house, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. That could be tea. And if, like, there's this, that, like, it's like a hut up on stilts, and it looks like there's space for an actor in it, and I'm just thinking, like, what if the Voodoo Queen is in this scare zone? And then I was like, oh my god, another queen. And then I'm like, is that the connective tissue? Is there just, like, a queen in every zone?
There could be.
But then it's like, who would be in Blumhouse? And maybe I'm like, maybe I'm reaching.
Okay, well, Blumhouse is its, like, own thing, because I know it's hard to tie an IP into, like, a story.
I hate IP scare zones so much anyway, so it just is what it is.
But yeah, I'm assuming there could definitely be a queen in the torture fair since Renaissance.
Yeah. Oh, there would be.
Yeah.
We saw there was that UK media event that they did for the UK travel agents. There was art of a king and queen. Oh my god. We have this sussed out. Queens everywhere. Queens. So yeah, queens. Fierce, honestly. That's really severe. I'm very hyped for that. I think it is time to keep going, and based on... Oh, what?
Based on...
For either Goblin's Feast or the museum, I feel like logically it would have to be Goblin's Feast, so we're going to say Goblin's Feast is next. Visit a goblin village where hordes of bloodthirsty goblins, orcs, hobgoblins, and witches would love to have you for dinner.
So, I have this ranked at number 9 overall. And it is number 6 for my houses.
I mean, to, spoil the fun right out the gate, this is my number 1 house and my number 1 hype.
So funny. We're nowhere near each other this year because I've not been in the stuff all season.
I feel like, one, this is like the least spoiled I've been prior to a Horror Nights ever.
Yeah.
So I have nothing but my imagination and what they've fed us to go off of. And I'm like, in my mind, House of the Year. In reality, we'll see. It's a new venue, so it's always a bad sign.
Did you listen to the little sidebar? Did you listen to the podcast story for this house?
I did. I did, and I don't feel like, honestly, I don't feel like these podcast stories really ever give us much, but what they do give, I feel like, is like maybe some scenes we'll see and some like ideas we'll get. And I thought this was cute. Maybe not the best they've ever done, but like as far as like hyping me up, I'm like, I'm getting goblins, I'm getting orcs, I'm getting more high fantasy, I'm getting more dark fantasy. Hello, of course I'm hyped for this.
Yeah.
And they, I don't know if you saw in that same UK event we were talking about, they revealed just a little bit, and they showed one of the, like, two or three goblin masks, and I'm just like, it's giving Gremlins, it's giving Tooth Fairy, I think it's going to be also giving, obviously, Dueling Dragons, maybe even Blood Moon. I'm just like, I am so very into this, and if the cast can deliver the energy and can give me that like mania, this will be House of the Year for me. This will be very hard to top if they do it right. You have it relatively low. I was just curious if it was just that other things were more interesting, or...
Yeah, I think I'm just excited for other things a little bit more. Like, I want to say that this is kind of where, like, right after this house is kind of where my list goes to, like, not as hyped, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like everything above this on my list, I'm like, could be anywhere.
Yeah. And there being so many originals, it's so many question marks about, like, I don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
So that's a factor too. But let's keep it moving. Not next door to this, but like basically, we have another tent house. That is the museum. Deadly Exhibits.
So you decide to visit the new folklore museum exhibit, the Rotting Stone, when an evil escapes from within, destroying everything in its path.
So this was one of the 3 houses that went on the Unmasking the Horror tours, the early tours, where some of the rooms were allowed to be photographed. Not everything, because they didn't want to spoil everything. Did you take a peek at any of that?
I did. Yes, I did. And I have this one ranked at number 4.
4 overall or 4 for houses?
4 overall and 3 for houses.
I had this, I used to have this very high. This was my number 2. And then I don't know. Something about seeing it, I was like, I wish I hadn't looked at these. Because I feel like all of the houses that got spoiled, I ended up dropping them out of my top 5, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I feel like those... The house lights are just not it for those houses.
That's not how...
And I'm really hoping the atmosphere and scare actors will change that. But, like, I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like this had a lot of potential when I was looking at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I see the potential for sure, and I still think this is probably going to end the season very high for me. I think the concept is really interesting. I have it currently ranked at number 6 for houses and number 6 overall.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it dropped a bit. I don't know. I just like something about the unmasking, like you said, seeing it in house lighting and seeing it through the lens of like not professional photographers, like, you know, just like fans. Like, I just don't think that was the best way for people to experience this the first time. Because I mean, even if it was like if they waited for opening night with media night, POVs, at least it would be house lighting. We would be hearing the actors. We would be hearing the audio and everything. I don't know. I think this was... I think this idea was a flop for me. I don't think they should repeat this. I think bad first impression, and these could be absolutely amazing. From what I heard of the tours, because people, of course, did share what the guides were able to tell them, there are some interesting things. I think the idea of like a guided audio tour through the museum, that was, without spoiling anything else, I think that could be a really interesting like audio narrative kind of way to present this house, and that is what's keeping it still in my top 6 out of 17.
I think I also might just have this high because I love museums.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, there's so much you can glean from a museum, so I'm kind of excited to see how this plays out.
It's this is such a like wild card, and for us to have so much of it spoiled already, I'm like, damn, this is the one I wish I hadn't had spoiled at all. I wish they had spoiled like an IP or something, like Insidious or Ghostbusters, like something we'd seen before. Like I would have rather seen that maybe, honestly nothing would have been preferable. But I do think this is a really cool idea, and I think the idea of this cursed stone that like takes over the museum feels very it reminds me of the plaque from Tooth Fairy.
Yes, I was just gonna say.
You know how I feel about that.
Tooth Fairy.
So that is really cool to me, and I am very interested to see how this plays out. I think this still has a lot of potential, and there's some rooms where I could see like camouflage costumes and like other things like that, maybe to like bring it to life in like unique ways. I could see this having almost like experimental house vibes. Some of the things just based on what came out from unmasking tours and like little, I guess, spoilers, not really leaks, so I don't want to like stay too much more than that, but like I think that this could be interesting. Okay. Still.
Do you want to move on to the next house?
Yeah, let's do it.
So our next house will be Slaughter Cinema 2.
If you're dying for a B-movie horror marathon, head to the Cary Drive-In. Scream through scenes from creature features, grindhouse, gore, spaghetti westerns, and more. And for me, I have this at number 7 and 7.
I have this at number 7 and 5. So 5 for the houses, 7 overall.
This actually has been kind of like sitting around 7 for me all season for the houses. I genuinely, it's just the stuff ahead of it I'm just like really interested in. And we've had Slaughter Cinema, we've had these anthology houses before, so I'm just like, I will love it. I'm sure I will adore it. But it's like I'm not as interested, I guess. I'm still interested.
I think what it is for me is that when it's like an anthology house, I usually tend to like more of like a story-driven narrative in the house versus like it being broken apart. So I think that's why it's where it's at for me. Like, I am still very excited, love Slaughter Cinema. So I'm excited to see what they have in there, but that is probably why I'm a little bit less hyped for that. Excited for it, but like, yeah, there's things I was definitely more excited for.
Some of the rooms they were talking about in the USA Today article, I'm like, mummy strippers? Like, are we gonna get like a moment? Like, are we gonna get some showgirls? Like,
what was that one house? From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes, very that. Absolutely. Maybe also vampire bloodbath. Even I feel like we've had other stripper examples, but like
Oh yeah.
I'm it maybe even giving like Amazon cannibals from Planet Hell from Slaughter Cinema 1 a little bit. That's like I'm very into this mummy stripper idea. I think it's so stupid. The story being that like they wanted to have some theme night costumes, so they robbed like a museum and cursed themselves. I think that's so stupid, and I love that. Some of the other houses too, I think what will be really exciting about this is to see what the fans latch on to, and to kind of see what becomes the next Yeti, like the next breakout hit that becomes its own house franchise. Because I think there's definitely some potential. I'm also really interested in I can't think of the name, the like demon bounty hunter spaghetti western one.
I didn't
Like,
read the article.
oh, there was they just revealed a couple of the themes, and I was like, that is so stupid, and I can't wait. I expect we'll probably get some throwbacks. It sounds like we'll definitely be seeing the same like kind of format for the house of like big, movie theater screen at the entrance and like posters for each movie. All of that I think will be extremely iconic. I'm hoping it's really funny. I know people like new people to the event. They're probably like, funny? What do you mean funny? But like we're expecting it to be funny. It's a funny house, so I'm excited. I'm excited for camp. We love camp. But keeping it moving on, we have one more house in this little corner, and that is Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. And this was also a new to us, a new house announcement for us.
So join Saskia Van Helsing and the Bride of Frankenstein as they face off against Dracula's daughter in her monstrous alliance.
Did you listen to the podcast for this one?
I did.
Yeah. Very exciting. It seems like a combination of like a sequel to all of the previous Universal Monster houses, which I didn't even think were connected.
They mentioned the amulet.
Yeah.
Bride is upset because Frank is dead.
Yeah.
And like,
and then
the
they
vampire, like Dracula's daughter, is the one who killed him, I guess. So like, because they were killing him in the end of Bride, they were attacking.
Yeah, so the brides were attacking, and I feel like all of Dracula's brides were killed at the end of Bride, and then the canon of what happened in Legends Collide, questionable, multiple endings, and a sequel that didn't make sense either. So all of that, and then also it feels like I cannot think of the name of the zone. It's a Hollywood scare zone, but that they did a couple years ago of like all of the classic female monsters beyond. So like She-Wolf of London, Dracula's daughter. So it feels like kind of a merging of those two ideas, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this house. I have it ranked as number 2.
This is my number 3 overall and for houses.
Same.
And it's the girl power year for sure.
Yeah.
So we do live for that.
We do live.
I think this is great. I can't wait to see how things go for our Bride of Frankenstein. Personally, I do not think the Bride of Frankenstein is a girl's girl. She all of that energy for a man. What happened to chicks before dicks, girl? But I'm always going to be team vampire. But I'm very hyped, and I'm excited to see kind of where this goes, where they advance the story. I love that they are advancing the story. There had been a lot of rumors before the season started about this potentially being like a prequel to Dark Universe, and I could maybe see that fitting within the framework of what we're getting, but I can see why they're like, let's just not touch Dark Universe if that is the truth. I know a lot of people are also upset, like, where's Creature from the Black Lagoon? There's all this Creature from the Black Lagoon merch. We'll get it one day. Let's let the girls have their night. And I think this sounds severe.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let's move on to the next location where we get Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus.
Step right up to a dark circus, a twisted nightmare you're cursed to relive over and over. It's a sinister spectacle of pyro and aerialists.
I will say, I do feel cursed that I'm going to relive this over and over.
I will say, people have been getting shots of some of the set from, like, just down on the ground by Men in Black. It is different. It is actually a circus set. So, we can confirm that. That is at least different. I don't know why this wasn't the theme last year when we had a ringmaster for the icon. But, at least we have not industrial chain link fences, and maybe we do. I mean, we can only see, like, the top of it. But I'm very excited to see sexy clowns, and this is my number 15. Where is it for you?
Number 17. Yeah.
The two things below it I just really don't give a shit about. But we'll see where it lands. Hopefully we're going to get a brand new story. It sounds like they've put this trans-coded nightmare body switching story maybe to bed with the, like, demon nightmare queen, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. I can't keep up with the lore of the show. I watch it once a year. But loved that it was, I don't think intentionally transcoded, but I'm always going to read it as transcoded. And fire and hot people. We love hot people. We love dancing. We love good music. Everything about it maths out as something we like. It just is, there's things I like more.
And things I want to be new and exciting every year, and it's just not as new and exciting as I want it to be.
Yeah, but I feel good. I feel hopeful, and I think this could even land higher at the end of my season. Yeah. I just, for now, number 15 is...
Yeah, I'm just like, expectations are on the ground. It'll be a pleasant surprise if I like it.
I already forgot where I ranked it last year, but I mean, it didn't exceed my expectations that dramatically.
You'll see it when you go to post the episode. I think we both had it.
Yeah, it'll be up. It should be. If you're watching this right now, that episode is definitely up because it's up. It's up. It's definitely up. I don't know what else to say about Nightmare Fuel. Let's walk another fucking 100, 200 feet over to San Francisco and enter the Blumhouse.
So run a terrifying gauntlet of Blumhouse characters, from the Grabber to Megan, dancing into your nightmares. This is a new kind of horror.
Well, you go first.
Well, I know where yours is at, but I actually have this at number 12 overall, and it is my number 4 scare zone.
It is my number 5 scare zone, and it's number 17 overall. I don't care. The set pieces that they've put out look cool. I think the stages will be really cool. I like Blumhouse movies. I've said what I've said about the Grabber. We don't have to go down that path again. Not wild about him. Not wild about that. And Megan is fierce.
And they had other characters on the poster too. So they also had like the killer from Freaky and the like baby from Happy Death Day. So
it looks like and of course we'll have Purgers and things like that. And I'm sure there will be other surprise characters that like we're not anticipating, like maybe from Insidious and like other franchises. So I'm sure it will be loaded with characters and it'll be very fun if you're into this IP. I just I don't really like these multi-IP photo op zones. If you're gonna bring in an IP, in my opinion, like I want to see something like, the the Chucky scare zone or the Trick or Treat scare zone, where it's like made for that venue, and it's like, you know, like Trick or Treat. Honestly, I think it worked better as a zone than it did as a house. I know a lot of people who felt that way about Killer Clowns, but something like this, I don't know. Like, do you remember like Altars of Horror at like 27? I think that it was like the twins from The Shining and Mr. Sinister, whatever his name is, the guy from Sinister.
Or in
it was in production.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, I'm just like, it's just a place. It's also giving kind of Crypt TV for me, of like, I just see this being extremely crowded. This is one of the tightest areas in the park, and it's right by where a show dumps out. And a house is dumping out over here. I don't know. I'm like, this is going to be a shit show, and it's going to be full of people taking selfies, and it's going to be miserable every night, and I'm just not excited about it. But I really wish it wasn't an IP zone. But what can you do?
They had to balance it out. I mean, they've got six original houses, so you gotta give them an IP zone, you know, just...
Yeah, IP zone. I think the other thing is that there had been some talk, and now I feel like we kind of can see that there was maybe some truth to it, of there being like a smaller version of Sweet Revenge happening in this zone, because the candy house is gonna apparently let out like right around this zone, and then the candy store right across from Chez Alcatraz is supposedly gonna have some Major Sweets element to it. There's like a Major Sweets sign on the door inside the store right now.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, it's hard not to be like, an IP I really don't give a shit about taking over a zone that potentially could have been tied to a house and like kind of carried in this like kind of mini little sub like Major Sweets area. I don't know, that to me is a real bummer. So I don't know if we can't confirm. We don't work here, and they will never confirm this kind of thing, but that's for me. So speaking of Major Sweets, that does bring us to Major Sweets Candy Factory. You've been invited to chaperone a field trip to a candy factory. But this sweet tour is about to turn sour when free samples transform the kids into candy-coated killers, wielding sharpened candies. Lauren, where is this at for you?
I have this one at number 5 overall, and number 4 for my houses.
It is also number 4 for my houses and number 4 overall, because my top 5 is all houses. We talked about this during the announcement, so we don't have to go crazy deep into it. I've just had more time to think about it, and I'm just like, I'm really hyped for this.
There's potential here. I'm excited for.
There is a lot of potential here. It is the Fast and the Furious venue, so question mark. And we now know that for certain because you can see the facade from the park. So, or part of it, the back of it. They did reveal the front of it, like in concept art. So the candy factory looks cool. Supposedly it's just the tent, not the whole inside. But I mean, I think the Blumhouse house felt like 2 full-length houses, honestly, or almost full-length. So I think if they maybe did something a little bit like claustrophobic, this could feel like a full-length like tent house, possibly.
So it's not going to be like both of those, like there's not going to be that break outside?
Supposedly. That is what the kids are saying on the street anyway.
Interesting.
Which is interesting because I actually think the like outdoor section could work for this, weirdly enough.
They could change it because it's taking place on that same Halloween from the scare zone. Like it's taking place like days before, so they could transition from the factory to that trick or treat like night where all the kids are killing everybody. But like
that would be really cool. So
who am I? What do I know?
Also did you listen to the podcast for this one?
I did. It felt very like Stephen King in the beginning of it, like, and it was also
Stephen
giving
King,
like Nosferatu by
Joe Hill.
Joe Hill as well. So
yeah. I could see that. It was kind of... I was very... Okay, just like from like a I'm not gonna sit here and like literary critique this thing, but I was like, who is, if this is a TV show we're listening to, or an audio, like a live from the town in the line, this show has a lot of insight to these kids' like interior lives. That's really stupid. No one is thinking about that but me.
Yeah, I didn't. I kind of ignored the like radio broadcast portion of it, but
I liked all of it. I thought it was really cute. I love the idea of this Taffy character. I think that's really cool.
Taffy reminded me of like the characters from like Spy Kids.
Yes. And then
I hope that's
the voice actor that they found to play Major Sweets, phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal. And I'm just like, I'm sure they had this actor also record like his triggered audio for the haunted house, and that had me thinking like about this house more. We were talking like maybe Willy Wonka vibes, like evil Willy Wonka. I could also see this. We said feeling like giggles and gore, and then I was really thinking back to Body Collectors, the OG like 2005 Body Collectors. Jesus Christ, 19 years ago. And it had this sound effect of like a factory floor, like woman on a PA system kind of going throughout it. Like that stayed with me for almost 20 years. And I was thinking like, if we could hear like his, "Hey kids," like fucking, his voice over like a PA system. I don't know, something about that like really clicked in my mind. And I was like, oh, there's potential here. Oh, this could be great. This could be great. I mean, it could fall on its ass. I mean, like, the venue is not hopeful. but you know what? It takes a couple years for them to find their footing with these new locations. Sometimes they knock it out the first time. Slaughter Cinema. Not Slaughter Cinema. What am I trying to say? Seeds of Extinction. But, you know. We also have, like, the Chance House. So.
Alright. You want to move on to our next area?
Yes. So, leaving Major Suites, headed not too far into the New York section of the park, we have our last scare zone, and probably the biggest scare zone, and that is Torture Fair.
So come one, come all to the Renaissance Fair, brave the gloriously gory medieval torture devices till you're put out of your misery.
Where do you have it, Lauren?
I have this at number 8 overall, and I have it at number 3 for house, or for zones.
I have this as number 2 for my scare zones, and I have this at number 10 overall. I will admit, for those of you who got mad at me on the Twitter, I was being a little harsh about unfinished sets unfairly. You know, I'm always, it's like 99% hyperbole, guys. Like, really, I'm not really upset about anything. I don't love the like shitty on purpose like aesthetic of some of the like painted sets that we have seen, but as they've developed and as I saw them in person the other night, just, you know, for continue to be built, it looks really good. Looks great. I think it's gonna be really cool. I love a medieval theme, as you know. Love a Ren Fair. It's probably gonna be my favorite if it's, you know, if not for Queens. Like, I feel like this is just kind of built to make me like it.
I think when I saw the pickle barrel, I was like 100% yes.
Yeah. The like just the names of the couple of like the props that are out, like there being like a like the bull thing, like you said, or like the stretching rack, the wheel. I don't have a degree in this shit or whatever. But it looks really cool, and I do take back what I said. I was never not excited about this zone, and I'm very interested. I think this makes more sense for Sinister if she's like the bodily, earthly horrors, torture, Sinister, the look of Sinister from the like the depictions of her. She's also in the logo, the key art. Like, there's, like, very faintly you can see her behind it. And then, on the throne stage, like, of course, there's a big banner of her. So I think it'll be interesting to kind of see, like, how does Sinister play into this? And hopefully how does this other queen, since we're queens everywhere, maybe. So I'm very interested to see how this, like, plays into the larger lore, plays into the larger theme, if it does at all. I mean, who knows? But hopefully. And I think the vibe here is going to be really different for New York, and I'm excited to kind of see how that goes.
Well, also in New York is
the Tribute Store. Which, for the first time ever, and I have to pull it up on my phone because I don't have it in my notes because it happened literally today, we have an official preemptive, like, description of the Tribute Store, which is crazy. So I'll just read that really quick. Beginning August 28th at Universal Orlando Resort, guests will enter a dystopian city where an ancient evil has been unleashed in this year's all-new Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store at Universal Studios Florida. Fans visiting the highly themed retail space will venture through a variety of haunted urban-themed locations, from an abandoned warehouse to a creepy subway station and beyond, while shopping for the latest Halloween Horror Nights merchandise and treats. And I love that. There was an interview also with some, I think it was SFX magazine, and they asked, what can you tell us about the Tribute Store this year? The Tribute Store has an all-new story. It has a killer that's on the loose within the Tribute Store. They're taking you through an abandoned building in New York into this abandoned world of New York, but there's a killer on the loose, and at the end of the Tribute Store experience, you find out who that killer is.
It's a Terrifier.
And, oh my god. But I'm, like, thinking, like, dystopian society, mystery killer. I doubt this is going to be connected to the failed to deliver Boris Part 1 story, but this does sound really cool. And out of curiosity, Lauren, do you have a ranking position for the Tribute Store this year?
I have it at number 13.
I
am excited for it, but I am also just, like, I always feel like it's so crowded in there. I just want to get out and not enjoy the atmosphere that is usually there.
That's completely valid. It is, especially last year. Last year, it was a nightmare in there, and I feel like it has gotten worse and worse every year. But I'm like, I try not to let that affect my, like, how I perceive, like, the two very crowded scare zones with, like, Central Park and San Francisco as best I can. So it's like, I'm trying not to, like, let that sway me and just think about, like, they're trying to tell stories. It's really become an attraction. So I have this actually at number 8, and I put it above all 5 scare zones.
Wow.
So, and then just since we've already kind of revealed a little bit, that's, like, literally right under Slaughter Cinema 2 and right above Demon Queens. I think, and that literally, I wasn't sure where it was going to be. We were going to record this, whether this had been announced today or not, and it just kind of was very lucky that it had been, and I was like, yeah, this is, like, even more story. I really hope we get another comic book, even if it's not, like, the comic book theme for the store, obviously. I just hope we get, like, another Tribute Store comic book that, like, tells the story, maybe. I think this is really cool, and I'm very down with them continuing to do this forever.
But close to the Tribute Store would be our next house, which we think is Triplets of Terror.
You're invited to the Barmy Triplets' birthday bash, but beware, they celebrate by recreating their family's murders. Prepare for a gory gathering. So this is the third of the 3 houses that were on the preview unmasking tour. Mm-hmm. So did you take a peek at any of the behind the scenes photos?
I sure did.
It affected my ranking just a little bit.
Where you
but I am curious. For me, I have this at number 8 of 10 houses, and number 11 overall.
Wow. I have this at number 16 overall, and it is my 10th house.
Damn. I think fully this house is going to have to speak for itself in the moment.
I agree, because I will say I did let, like, the unmasking photos that I saw, like, influence my decision a little bit, but I was already very hesitant with this house. I will say I really did enjoy I don't know if I want to spoil it. There's, I don't know, a room in that house, it seems like, that I haven't seen at Horror Nights in a very long time, that I think is exciting, with things hanging from the ceiling, so...
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about, and I thought that looked very nice.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I could dig that.
This concept to me just doesn't feel like a soundstage house, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and
I feel like this could have been in a tent.
And just from the photos that I've seen, it doesn't feel like it's like a cohesive story as much as I would like anticipate it being.
From the sound of it, this was actually planned to be a Slaughter Cinema scene this year, and the designers got really into the idea, and they just kept expanding on it and coming up with more and more concepts. And it just kind of blossomed into a full-scale house. And that does excite me, because that means that they became passionate about it very quickly. Which is like that. I mean, I love that feeling. Like, if you've like ever just worked on a creative project and you've really just started volleying ideas and like just really wanted to like go in a new direction. So that to me gives me a lot more faith in it. And I have a feeling that like once we see this with actors, of course, show lighting, this could be really fun. I am very curious how the story is going, because this is clearly a story heavy house. How is that going to translate in the house? I mean, we know they can do it. I'm just curious how they're going to do it. So that's where my like question mark raised eyebrow is kind of sitting at with this house for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like this needs a podcast episode.
Yeah, I mean, like all of the other stuff, like not all of the other stuff. Obviously, I don't think Slaughter Cinema needs a podcast, but
yeah, I don't think Slaughter needs one. Honestly, I didn't even think Goblins really needed one. I thought that idea kind of explained itself. This more than anything, and the icons. I'm like, are we gonna get podcasts for those? And I don't know. Hopefully, and maybe we will by because you know how this works is we say something and then by the time I'm posting the episode, we have a confirmation. But let's head out of Triplets of Terror. We've kind of talked about it enough and already. That leads us to another IP, Insidious: The Further. Lauren, take it away.
Don't get trapped in the Further as terrifying demons try to ensnare you. The red-faced demon will lure you to his lair behind the red door so he can possess your living body. And Keyface will unlock your fears with his key-tipped fingers to keep your soul trapped in the Further forever.
Where do you have this?
So I have this ranked at number 11 overall, and it is my number 8 house.
Okay, I have this at number 5. I know. I rewatched the POV of the 2015 houses in Florida and in Hollywood, which we did both of those. And I was just like, these were so fucking good. Like, I
think that's why I put mine as low as I did, because those were so good. I was like, it's not gonna hit that note.
It probably won't, but I'm like, honestly, it couldn't be worse than Blumhouse. So, like the Blumhouse house that it was in. Like, I feel like, so I'm like, I don't know. I like have good faith. I really like the Insidious movies. I think the first one is kind of boring, but I think like they get like progressively more interesting and like more fun. I think the monsters are really fucking scary.
I like still to this day like Insidious is maybe one of my favorite like series of like horror films. Like it's specifically like Insidious and then Insidious 2. is like my all-time favorite. Like I made my whole family watch that movie with me. I loved it so much. So yeah, so I am still very excited to see this house, but I'm cautiously excited for it because I don't know if it'll live up to the previous.
And that's the thing, is I feel like there's no chance of this staying in my top 5, but like preemptively I'm like, you know what? I feel like the Blumhouse house we got in 2017, I think, the one that had an Insidious scene, I thought that was the best part of that house. Otherwise, I really wasn't crazy about that first Blumhouse. And then I loved those 2 other houses, and I'm like, I actually have nothing but goodwill for Insidious at Halloween Horror Nights. I feel good about this.
And like also with the movies, like the red-faced demon, that one jump scare has been like, it's iconic. Like I still think about that jump scare from time to time. So
Daddy Patrick Wilson. Yeah. And to be honest, I have actually not seen the 4th and 5th films yet. I will get it done hopefully in the next week. This is such a crazy busy week. I am recording with different people almost every fucking night and editing, and then we have opening weekend. So hopefully that will get done. If not,
so kind of to continue that, I'm also behind on watching some of the IP films. So I need to watch Insidious, The Red Door still, and I also need to watch the next house film, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Haven't seen that either, so it's on my to-do list, but I only have like one day off between now and Horror Nights, so we'll see what happens.
In this bone-chilling haunted house inspired by the film Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the Ghostbusters must team up to save the world from a second ice age. A new specter, Garaka, has escaped from an ancient artifact. He'll stop you cold with a whole army of ghosts. Try not to freeze in fear as you dodge specters of ice. And he freezes people solid before your eyes. This is like a paragraph. So, I finally watched this movie. I did not see it in theaters. I watched it like 2 days ago. So I got one down. And I actually think everybody was kind of mean. Like, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it, actually. I like, without, like, spoiling it for anybody who hasn't watched it yet, I just thought it was, like, it was nice to watch a Ghostbusters movie that wasn't just, like, a complete retread of the first movie, which, like, I rewatched the second Ghostbusters, which for the first time in years, very recently, and I was like, holy shit, this is, like, beat for beat, like, the exact same movie. And then obviously the remake is beat for beat the same movie, and then obviously the reboot is dealing with a ton of the same things. So, like, watching this one, I was like, this is actually quite refreshing. Like, there's a lot of new stuff here. I do think it plays a little too hard into, like, nostalgia and, like, old jokes from old movies, but and maybe it's juggling way too many characters, but I think it's got a lot of really great ideas. There's, like, a ghost lab, without spoiling anything, that's really cool, and I think will make for a great scene in the haunted house, hopefully. I think a really interesting environment to explore. I think the Frozen sets will be really cool, and I feel like in Orlando we are owed the firehouse facade, since we did not get it with our Ghostbusters house in 2019. So I'm excited to see, hopefully, that translated this time. So all that said, it is still number 9 out of 10 for me. And 14 overall.
I have it as number 10. And overall, in number 7 for my houses. Yes, number 7 for my houses. Just because I am kind of excited to see. I mean, like I said, I still have to see the movie, and I still have to see Insidious Red Door. So, like, that could influence my hype for those 2 houses, like, going into the event. But as of today, I am kind of excited for it, just because the first house was really good, and I'm excited to see what they do with a new story.
Yeah, if anything, my only complaint about this is that we're getting yet another camp comedy house. to a movie that honestly didn't do very well. People didn't seem to like. I thought it was cute, but I didn't think it was like amazing. And a year that we seemingly have quite a few camp houses, so that's kind of like, And a year where it's like, oh, you mean we could have had The Weeknd, but we're not getting that. Just Hollywood is. But it should be cute. I'm excited. But moving on, trying to keep this to not be 2 hours for you guys. Let's move it along to the last of the big IPs, one we've already talked about, A Quiet Place.
Silence your screams if you want to survive this terrifying post-apocalyptic world, based on the films A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. Like the Abbott family, you must keep quiet as you travel from the farmhouse to the woods to the foundry. As soon as you make a sound, monstrous creatures who can hear the slightest noise will hunt you down and silence you for good.
This has had a behind-the-scenes podcast since the last time we recorded.
I haven't listened to that one yet.
Fair enough. It's just an interview with the creators, and they're just talking about kind of how they're going to handle the quiet element and bringing ASL into the house.
What did they say about the quiet element? Because
So, essentially just that they're basically asking everybody to LARP, and that the attendants will hopefully be like, and that hopefully people will participate, but that they're also kind of like, you're going to have the experience you're going to have. It's up to you. But that they've designed the audio, this I did think was interesting, to be more focused on like subtle sounds, like a leaf blowing by was like one that they quoted, and like quiet things. So the sound design might be really interesting. Speaking of movies we still have not watched, I still have not watched the second one.
I've seen information that I just saw when I was reading that was that it was also the second one.
Yeah, I have seen the first one when we saw it in a loud movie theater where people were eating, and I have seen the third one, which is a prequel and not in the house, so it does me no good. I haven't seen the third one yet,
but I have seen the first and second, so nailed it.
Yeah, so maybe I'll get that watched beforehand. To be fair, I don't really give a shit. I think these movies are kind of boring. I think the monsters are really cool. I think that they will look cool. Where do you have it ranked?
I have it ranked at number 14 overall, and it is my number 9 house.
I have this at number 16 overall, and it is my number 10 house. It's not for a lack of like, fuck this, I just don't care.
That's just a small portion of it.
Yeah, like I'm just like, it probably will raise. Like it certainly can't go down. I mean, I guess it could go down 1. I doubt it will. It will probably surprise me and impress me. This is a hype list. It's what we're excited about. That's all these are. I think, you always see people like, why are people ranking them before it started? Like, it's a tradition at this point. It's just something you do. Get into it, or don't. But if you're not going to, I mean, like, can you just stop complaining about it? Let people do it, because they're going to keep doing it. I don't really know what else to say about A Quiet Place. We kind of said a lot last time.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to our last house. It is, yet again, another house that we have talked about, but I am curious to see where we have it ranked. That is Monsteros, the Monsters of Latin America. I think, Lauren, I think it's your turn to give it a go. I already got made fun of.
Absolutely
I think it's your turn.
Not. Thank you for
your turn. It's your turn.
We can just not read it. I will not be reading it. That's, I cannot tell you how much I hated speaking in Spanish. Like, I could write and I could read. Speaking is not for me. I am as white as they come. I cannot do it.
So, like, I can say 2 out of 3 of them. I'm sorry. I can't, it's like Tlahuapuchi. I don't know how to say it, but I can say La Lechuza and El Silbón and La Muerte, obviously. Anyway, let's just give it a go. Ten cuidado. With La Muerte as your guide, you'll be asking for mercy from these 3 terrifying monsters. The blood-sucking Tlahuelpuchi, I'm sorry, the owl-faced witch La Lechuza, and the bone-ripping El Silbón. I don't know what more there is to say, because it looks and sounds fucking great, and it's everything I'm into. And this is my number 2 overall and number 2 for my houses. I don't know where it's at for you, Lauren.
This is my number 1 for
Hey.
the event this year.
Hell
I'm very
yeah.
excited.
Hell yeah. There is that absolutely incredible in the Hollywood version of the house. It's like a puppet animatronic. It's like 10 feet tall of La Lechuza, the owl creature. And John Murdy confirmed on Twitter a few weeks ago that it's been shipped to Orlando, and I'm just like, okay, House of the Year probably, but I had to give it to my goblins, but like this is gonna be it. And I'm so happy that somehow it worked out that this was the last one we talked about tonight, just based on the rotation.
Yeah.
This I think is gonna be excellent, and I love bringing culture to the event, and I think we need more of this. I'm honestly jealous that I can't go to Hollywood this year because they're doing a sequel to it. Mm-hmm. And with even more monsters. I know they're doing El Cucoy and some other, which they have done. They've done an El Cucoy house, but I believe the other 2 they're doing are unique for their event as well. I'm going to be honest, I don't have it pulled up and I don't remember, but still very exciting. And this, I think, if there's one thing Orlando does, it's sets. Beautiful sets, and I think this is in a soundstage. I think this is going to just be like top tier. I think this is going to be the one that everybody's talking about visually this year.
This is also one where I felt that the podcast was amazing, because like, I agree. As somebody who grew up white as Wonder Bread, I don't know any of these stories, these monsters, so that was like my first introduction to them. And I loved the way that it happened in the podcast, and it was actually pretty spooky listening to it. So I'm like, hopefully the house gives the same feeling that the podcast did.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make a little gringo confession. The La Llorona use of La Llorona at Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood the first time they did it, because I do, I've always paid attention. I don't necessarily know it like the back of my hand the way I know Orlando, but that scare zone and then house that they did literally introduced that bit of folklore, like global folklore, to me, and I became obsessed with that character. Like I still am to this day. I think it's just such a fascinating myth, and like it's interesting to see all of the variations across different Latin American countries, and the fact that these houses, specifically the Monstros houses, are like kind of a cultural melding of those different influences, I think is really exciting and unique. And I think this is such a great way to introduce, like we said, culture to people who would have otherwise had no exposure to them. And I think some people are about to, like, I don't know, the way people discover the Loch Ness Monster for the first time, or whatever your specific cryptid or folklore or myth of choices. Like, I think it's just exciting to get people interested in other cultures and like maybe learning and being a little bit less ignorant, and also just like getting a little bit of that sharing. I know that the team and the designer who worked on it is Latin American and was bringing a lot of his personal heritage into it. And I just think, personally, I really loved the Chupacabra house that we did a couple years ago. I thought that facade was really beautiful. I thought the storytelling was just very kind of haunting and frightening. And I think having, once again, that sort of jumping off point from Hollywood and seeing what Orlando, how we twist and tweak it over here, I'm just really excited to see how this turns out. And I think this is probably going to stay in that top 5 all season. I would be shocked if this slips. But that said, that brings us to the end of our hype list. So just to really quick run down our 17 attractions, since we kind of just go through it one at a time. You want to hit the gas first, Lauren?
So for me, number 17 was Nightmare Fuel. Number 16 was Triplets of Terror. 15 was Duality of Fear. 14, A Quiet Place. 13 was the Tribute Store. 12 was the Blumhouse Scare Zone. 11 was Insidious. 10, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. 9, Goblin's Feast. 8, Torture Fair. 7, Slaughter Cinema 2. 6, Demon Queens. 5, Major Sweets Candy Factory. 4, The Museum Deadly Exhibit. 3, Swamp of the Undead. 2, Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. And 1, Monstrous.
And for me, at number 17, I had Enter the Blumhouse. 16, A Quiet Place. 15, Nightmare Fuel, Nocturnal Circus. 14, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. 13, Duality of Fear. 12, Swamp of the Undead. 11, Triplets of Terror. 10, Torture Fair. 9, Demon Queens. 8, The Tribute Store. 7, Slaughter Cinema 2. 6, Museum Deadly Exhibits. 5, Insidious The Further. 4, Major Sweets Candy Factory. 3, Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. 2, Monsteros, The Monsters of Latin America. And 1, Goblin's Feast. You know, of course, there's so much more to be hyped about as far as Halloween Horror Nights goes. There's merch that's getting revealed every day now. New construction is happening every day, and by the time you're watching this, the event is probably starting this week. I mean, it is starting the week that you're watching this, but it's probably, you might be waiting in line watching us, and if you are, I hope you're as hyped as we are. Excited to see all of the new food booths, to try all of the new food and drinks. It's exciting. I cannot believe we are already at another Halloween Horror Nights. Lauren?
I was literally talking to your fiance today about how this event is a week and a half away from today, and I'm like, I can't. For me, in my head, it's still like weeks away.
In my head, it's still like a year out.
Well, you're never prepared for it, but I feel like I'm usually a little bit more prepared.
I will say, my outfit is done.
I'm going for comfort this year, so it'll be you by yourself. Well, not by yourself, but not with me.
I don't know that I'm necessarily wearing it opening night. I'm just like, I'm going to wear this cute outfit one night this weekend, whatever night it's not pouring rain. And,
hopefully.
Yeah. I can't believe it's here. Truly cannot believe. Being in the park the other day, I was like, oh, it's real. Wow, it's happening. It's here.
Today is also the first time I looked at a single construction photo.
Can't relate there, but
so I got everything all at once, and so now I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited.
It just moving forward, like, one day from being, like, 1st of September to 30th of August really fucked my brain up. I'm like, what? And I'm just like, in my mind, like, we have months to go. I don't know. It's like, we're going to have fully thought out, fleshed out opinions. You know, which I guess we should talk about a little bit. We have no clue what that opening weekend is going to look like on this show, but you'll get something. Something will be given to you. No clue what the format's going to be. We haven't decided. We don't even know who we're going with. Things are coming together. Really,
oh god.
When I say it has been a weird year.
Yeah, it has.
I'm so happy that the one and only thing that I get serotonin from is back. But that said, as always, you can find me at Cathode Coaster on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, not very active. Maybe we'll start to get better about that. I think we'll start to have maybe a TikTok coming up in the coming weeks where maybe we'll have at least clips from the show and maybe some other, like, smaller things we work on. Not so sure if the Cathode Coaster branding is even going to really continue as part of this channel. I just don't really have time to do all of the ideas I had for it, but, you know, maybe. The Horror Nights Gauntlet has been the one, like, consistent thing that we've been able to keep going, so we'll definitely have more of that coming up down the pipeline, and, otherwise, Lauren, where can the folks keep up with you?
Here? Good question. I don't know. I mean,
Fair enough.
I have a Twitter, but I haven't really been on it. So I check it if people tweet at me, but other than that, I'm not very active. I work like 60 something hours a week. I just can't.
So, like we said, that wraps it up for this year's hype list. We can't wait to kind of get our first impressions out to you guys, and maybe this year we'll give you a review before next year. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Horror Nights Gauntlet.